I'm Bill Reese, and welcome to Getting Started with BoxLang. In today's video, how to debug with BoxLang, I'll show you how to get set up and running with the new BoxLang debugger and step through some of the great features that are available to use not just in BoxLang, but in ColdFusion code as well. So let's get started. So first thing you're going to want to do is set up VS Code. And once you have VS Code installed on your machine, if you just search up in the marketplace for BoxLang, get that installed on your VS Code. You're also probably going to want to get CFLint installed if you didn't already have that installed. Those two will work really well together. Once you do, you're going to have this icon over here, and that will show you your BoxLang home and some other important links for you to use. But once you're installed, then you're going to want to install two things to get the debugger working. So first thing, we're going to want to create a file called launch.json, but you're going to want to put this file here. And the important thing to note, as it's said here, is you want this port here to be available to you, and you're going to want that to match up inside of the server.json. You're going to add this to your JVM arguments. So really two lines, or I should say a file and a line of code to get the debugger running. So you're going to make sure that those ports match up. Then you're pretty much good to go. So how do we get started in launching our debugger? Here is right here, this little play icon. And you have all these things that we'll talk about in a minute here. But to get up and running, you can run the debugger in the OS runtime, mini server, command box, and even write within VS Code. So, so I have some information here. I have some variables being set. We're doing some functions and stuff. So how do I get to expose this in the debugger? So like I was saying, we're going to run command box first, and we're just going to do a start on the server. And because we have those two lines in there, that is going to enable the debugger. We have our site running, and let's go ahead and hit that page. So we got that page, and we see some information that we were expecting to see, but what I didn't see was the debugger run. Why is that? Well, we got to enable the debugger. So what we're going to do is we are going to come over here, go ahead and hit play. This little box up here shows up. Now I want to cover up what some of this functionality is here. So this one right here is kind of like the play pause. So this allows you to continue on with, as you kind of go through it, it does a breakpoint. It's going to stop there. You hit play, and it's going to go to the next breakpoint. Now we can also do some other cool stuff, like you can step over, which is kind of going on to the next pausable place within the call stack. You can also step into, which allows you to go deeper into that stack, going to the next frame potentially. And then also the step out allows you to go out, kind of out above into the parent frame, which is kind of cool. If you're kind of looking in there, you've seen everything you want to see, you can kind of go back up a level and continue on. And then the next one would be restart and disconnect. So those are kind of two things when you're done. So let's go ahead and start with the debugger. So I'm going to go ahead, and because I have a breakpoint, we can go in here and, for instance, turn a breakpoint off. But we can also say I want to pause on this point in the code. So when I reach this point in the code, it's actually going to stop and let me know what's going on before it runs this line. So one of the cool things is I can look here under the breakpoints panel, and I can see all the breakpoints that I have specified. And if I want to jump around to those, I can do that. So the first one I'm going to be concerned with is this one that's on the page. So let's go ahead and run this page again and see what happens. So I'm going to go ahead and refresh. So note, it automatically loaded up the debugger at the position for me. But if we look at the file itself, it's in a pause state. So if I'm looking at this, it's waiting for me to continue on with that processing of that thread. So when I look at this page here, it's stopped at the breakpoint, and it says, hey, I'm about to do this. So some of the stuff that I can look at here is I have the call stack, I have the panels. So kind of the neat thing about the variables panel is you can do some neat stuff in here, like looking up, for instance, the BoxLang struct or settings that you have, kind of looking through all the server variables. You can look through what's set up on your application, any URL or form or CGI variable. So you have all this available in the debugger, which is really cool, because sometimes your error might not be in the code you're looking at. It might be in a setting or something like that. So it's really neat to kind of have that available to you. So what I'm going to do is kind of go through some of these things. So first things first, I want to go ahead and step into this. and see what's going on. So that allows me to go into now this users.bx, which I asked it to create a new user, and that's going to go ahead and go through this. So I could step through and continue to do each of these things here, but what I want to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and step out, so it's going to return back up to the parent frame. Now notice over here that if I go to the variable section, that variable is not there right now, because what it's waiting for me to do is move on to the next line. Once I move on to that next line, then it's going to be available to me. So I can see there that it's my user variable is there, and I can continue to step through these different things. I can say, well, let me go ahead and do this now. And I can see each of these variable states and what information is contained in them. So it's really neat stuff. When I'm kind of done with this, I can go ahead and hit play. And now when I do that, and now the page is processing again. So one other important area to note on the debugger, sometimes you're trying to look for some of the information coming out. You have this tab right here in this panel, Debug Console, and then you're going to want to make sure that you're assigned to the debugger here that you're working with, and you'll be able to see some of that console output there as well. So some of the other cool things that you can do besides doing step debugging that I think are really neat is with errors. So one of the things this brings along is I can see an error right away. So before I even do any kind of code commits or anything, I can see that there was an error, don't need to run it. And then it has this little red area here. I can look on my map and it shows red. And I see this little squiggly here and it says this is an undetermined hash expression. So we're going to go ahead and put two pound signs there, and lo and behold, the error is now fixed. So that was really cool, able to fix that error inside the IDE. Some other cool stuff that we can do is we can debug in tags as well. So we were looking at a lot of script syntax, but if we were to do our templating language, we can do that as well. So let's see what that looks like. Now we are going to go ahead and hit that page. And now that we came up here, we have this pause state again. So before we run the CF or the BoxLang HTTP call, we're going to go ahead, we're in a pause state, but this time we're just going to go ahead and step over that function. And then that's going to bring us to the next one. So now we can go ahead and look here, and we can go ahead and look on the variables, and I see this web result that we had specified here. And I have all the information from that HTTP request. So really neat stuff there. So one of the neat things that we can do, run something right from within VS Code. So we have this class file here with a main function. And what you can see right here is it says run. So we can actually click on this button right here. We could pass it some parameters if we want. And when we go ahead and hit that, we didn't open up the server or anything. We came right into here and it loaded up our page. One of the neat things that we can see here is that we're able to step through this. And we're able to see what's going on. And we did that all from VS Code. But one of the neat things that we can actually do here is that we can run ColdFusion code from this debugger. So what does that look like? Let's talk about that. So same process that we employed before, but now what I'm going to do is run this CFM page. So on our ColdFusion page here, looks very similar. We're setting some variables and stuff like that, but we're actually using the BoxLang debugger on a CFM page. Also, something to note here, we're actually calling a BoxLang class from our ColdFusion page. So that's a lot of cool stuff. Let's see if that works. So we're going to go ahead and do CF. And our first thing that comes up, as soon as it tried to execute that page, was it loaded up here our BoxLang class. So it actually went to instantiate our BoxLang class, paused on the breakpoint that I have in there, and that allows us to go right back through here. I'm going to go ahead and step up and go right back up here. And then when I go ahead and say, well, let's go and move on, we can see here that that BoxLang class was created in our ColdFusion code. How cool is that? And then we can continue on here and step through our ColdFusion code. And we're using BoxLang Debugger in ColdFusion. Pretty neat stuff. So hope you enjoyed that. And if you have any questions, please reach out. And hope you have a great day. Thanks a lot.